As the sun rises on a new day, Yang Kai wakes up, and takes the broom lying in the corner of his small room. Standing at the front door. Although he is completing a low-ranked task, Yang Kai is a trial disciple of the High Heaven Pavilion, where he has trained for 3 years. Despite his efforts, he has only reached the tempered body 3rd stage, lagging behind other disciples who have entered the sect at the same time as him. High Heaven Pavilion is a unique sect known for its ruthless competition among disciples, where the strong are like kings and the weak are eliminated. In the High Heaven Pavilion, there was one rule. For every new disciple, the first 3 years of their acceptance are considered the testing phase. In these 3 years, all of the disciples' food, clothing, and shelter are provided by the outer court. Disciples only need to focus on cultivating. If, in these 3 years, they manage to break through the tempered body stage, then they will be able to enter the inner court to pay respects to the elders and become their disciples. In those 3 years, if you don't break through, you can either leave the sect or be demoted to a trial disciple. Yang Kai is currently a trial disciple. He is also known as High Heaven Pavilion's shame. But Yang Kai has faith that he can eventually become an ordinary disciple. Gradually, a group of High Heaven Pavilion disciples surrounded him. These disciples had woken up early, not to cultivate but to look at him. Among those High Heaven Pavilion disciples gathered around Yang Kai, there was a tense competitive atmosphere surrounding them. Looking at each other warily, all held an unfriendly look. Someone in the crowd softly spoke out. "So many people, isn't it a bit excessive?" At that point, someone else replied, "Do you think anybody can walk this path, huh? Nobody wants you to stay." That statement made the person who spoke embarrassed. Having the commotion next to him, Yang Kai naturally understood, he has already gotten used to it, nothing to make a fuss out of. He also noticed the number of people in front of him had decreased, they probably had not all arrived yet. Yang Kai suddenly stopped and sat down in the middle of the road. Slowly, he breathed in the early morning air to restore his own energy.
Yang Kai is meditating, while many around him are questioning his actions and requesting that he stop pushing. Time continued to pass, and then a bell rang. All the disciples surrounding Yang Kai and himself were startled when they heard it. The bells rang 9 times, and the sun rose from the east. It was a whole new day. Everyone's breathing slowed as they saw Yang Kai slowly get to his feet. He picked up his broom and looked at them. "Pick me, Senior Yang. I promise to go easy on you," someone yelled. As Yang Kai heard that statement, he lifted his broom and threw it to the sky. The broom head pointed into the crowd at a burly teenager. "Cheers, lucky bastard." Leaving only Yang Kai and the burly teenager looking at each other, Yang Kai was introduced to his opponent as trial disciple, Yang Kai, tempered body, 3rd stage. The burly teenager was introduced himself as Xia Ning Chang, ordinary disciple, tempered body 5th stage. Disciples of the High Heaven Pavilion were ranked from bottom to top. Here are the ordinary disciples, the lower base disciples, the elite disciples, and the core disciples. Xia Ning Chang said that he was an ordinary disciple, which means he has yet to pay his respects and obtain a mentor. If the tempered body disciples breakthrough had a mentor, they would be at the top of the lower base disciples. And those elite disciples were selected from the best lower base disciples. As for the core disciples, they were treated as the hope of the next generation of the High Heaven Pavilion and thus cultivated accordingly. The awe-inspiring disciple hierarchy. Yang Kai was always the first to attack. Taking the step to Xia Ning Chang, then punching him in the chest. Then a tiger fist. His attacks were strong, and it felt like all of his energy was in his attacks. Xia Ning Chang didn't panic. Sadly, this battle didn't hold any suspense. Yang Kai's fist was easily dodged, and he was attacked on the stomach.
Oppressing the pain, Yang Kai quickly retreated and avoided Xia Ding's 3rd strike. This surprised Xia Ding. He would not have thought that his 3rd stage brother could actually react fast enough. Yang Kai suddenly kicked his right foot forward. Seeing the shadow rapidly approaching, Xia Ding saw his indomitable spirit, whilst executing a Shaolin fist. Crap! His heart jumped. Yang Kai fell backwards, while Xia Ding was still standing. If his opponent was at the same cultivation as him, then he would have been the one to fall down. Others couldn't see the fists, but they clearly felt it. This disciple was too fast. "Senior, thank you for letting me win." This battle left quite a bitter result in Xia Ning Chang's heart. Although he won, he didn't feel as if he had won. To the side, many whispers could be heard. This person thought he won. Ha ha, doesn't that mean he didn't know of Yang Kai's reputation and challenged him? This is really too hilarious. Without waiting for answer, Yang Kai charged over. 3 feet away, he swept his foot towards Zhou Ding's legs in an attempt to topple him. A leg whip. The sect had disciples cultivate various martial arts, yet Yang Kai's application of them far surpassed his peers. Even though this, Yang Kai went flying away again. Again, he said while clenching his teeth with eyes full of determination. Peng, Yang Kai flew away again. He's beaten down, he just gets back up. Zhou Ding felt real bitter. He hadn't imagined that his opponent was such a crazy person, so Yang Kai was sent flying another 7 or 8 times. But he still continued to persist and continue fighting.
Finally, Zhou Ding exclaimed, "Are you crazy? Throw down the towel or you'll die." Despite Yang Kai's sorry figure, his eyes were becoming more and more powerful. Zhou Dingjun knew that if he didn't settle things now, then there will be no end. Thinking of this, Zhou Dingjun rushed forward to execute a palm knife to Yang Kai's neck bone. Yang Kai was knocked out and collapsed to the ground. A female disciple, who is a member of the High Heaven Pavilion's Dark Hall, is observing the duel from a tree branch. She takes out a small book and records the result of the duel, with Zhou Dingjun as the winner. So for all battles within the sect, you do not have to worry about not being able to prove your wins and earning contribution points. For in the shadows, Dark Hall disciples will record them down for you. This woman, after recording the outcome for this duel, took out another smaller book from her waist and opened up at May 7th century, 15 years old, Yang Kai's 147th defeat. 147 battles in a row, and he had lost every single one of them. This simply can be said that since the sect's history, it was a unique record and was enough to be awe-inspiring. Though the owner of this record was lying on the ground, not knowing if they were dead or alive. This skinny young man has an impressive level of determination. Despite losing 147 fights in a row, he remains unwavering. Maybe this is a foolish trait in a man. Xia Ning Chang noticed Yang Kai by chance. When she became a Dark Hall disciple, she was assigned to watch over this area. Every time Yang Kai was challenged, and every time she saw him getting beaten badly, she became more interested in this young man in the 3rd stage of tempered body. And that's it, folks. You now have a basic understanding of the world of martial peak. From the various sects, to the trials and duels, this manhwa has it all. With its captivating storyline and powerful characters, it's no wonder why Martial Peak has become so popular. Whether it's Yang Kai's unwavering determination or Xia Ning Chang's grace, the characters of Martial Peak will leave a lasting impression on you with never-ending chapters. So why not join us on this epic journey and follow their journey to the top of the martial world? And don't forget to share your thoughts and theories with us in the comments section. Until next time, goodbye.